Hi, this is Linda Askey, and I wanted to talk a little bit about texture in the garden. Texture is not just texture that you can feel. We kind of, in your mind, you can remember what it feels like to touch this burlap. But there's also a texture you can see. This is the texture on my caned antique chair in my living room. But what's really interesting is when you combine two textures, even monochromatic textures. It's interesting because of the difference. And I do the same thing in the garden. This is the foliage of a dwarf cryptomeria. It's sort of a boxwood substitute that I use. And I've combined it with purple heart on the left, bearded iris foliage, and big leaf magnolia above it. And the texture contrast is really nice. Peewee oakleaf hydrangea is one of my favorites. It's in my foundation planting, along with this Mahonia soft caress, very feathery and light, and behind it is a boxwood. The trio of the Mahonia, the boxwood, and the oakleaf hydrangea, I think, are really successful and a manageable size that they don't overgrow their location. Elsewhere in my garden is a much bigger oakleaf hydrangea. This is a seedling, actually. They're native here in Alabama. And these big leaves next to the feathery foliage of the prostrate plum yew is one of my favorites. You can see in the combination that the fine texture and the bold texture really make a nice statement, even when there's not a flower to be had. It's pretty all summer long. Elsewhere, I have Ogon spirea, which is a feathery golden weeper that I combine with hosta for all summer interest. And then there is spineless prickly pear. These big gray pads have a definite texture in a dry part of my garden. It's southwest facing. And next to it, I have needle palm. Needle palm is both heat and extremely cold hardy. Can grow much further north than Alabama. Then, of course, there's textural contrast that's not so happy, as in a violet in the grass. But I thought I'd point out that that's exactly why it stands out. Thanks so much for listening.